Now that we've white balanced our infrared image and channel swapped it, I'm going to give you a couple really quick tools that will help you play with the colors in your infrared photograph. As we said before, we have a close to cotton candy look going after we did our channel swap here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, again, since I work non-destructively, I'm going to use this as my starting point and replicate this layer so I can always go back to what we're calling layer 1 here in case I do something that I can't get back from. So I've replicated the layer, and now what I want to do is I want to go for just like a blue and white look on this. The cotton candy is not one of my favorite looks when I have water like this, so what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of the yellows and the reds that I'm seeing within the foliage. I want to make that pure white. I've got two ways of doing that. First thing I can do is bring up the level adjustments tool by hitting Command L or Control L if I was on a PC, and taking this gray point slot eyedropper and clicking somewhere within the foliage to see to find a white point. And that's pretty close. That's pretty good. I can live with that and work a little more from there in terms of tweaking the colors. But I want to show you another option that's a little less random than the eyedropper, and that's using the color balance tool. Now within the color balance, again, as I said, I got a little more red and a little more yellow where I want whites. So what I will do is, in this bottom slider, the yellow-blue slider, I'm just going to start sliding that a little bit more towards the blue, and then I can still see some reds now in my foliage. So I will now take the cyan red slider and slide it to the left. I'm fairly close now to where I was previously, but as you can see here, it's a good look, and I've adjusted my midtones to where I want them, because as you can see, I was adjusting the midtones here. What I can also do now is, if I want to, go to the shadows and maybe play with taking a little bit of the yellow out of the darker tones. And what this lets me do is it gives me a deeper blue down in the water than I had previously, and I like this a lot because I like, if I want to do blues in the waters, then I want those waters to look more blue than the sky, and this is a neat kind of look, so I'm happy with this. So I will take that, and I could at this point now just hit Command E or Control E and apply that to that layer. So now I have that there. I don't have to worry about adjustments on top of adjustments within the layer. So I applied that. Now I want to just maybe play with the colors just a little bit more, and I'm going to use that using the Selective Color tool. But I'm going to do it in a way that doesn't necessarily seem intuitive, but it's a really neat trick for infrared photography. Now within the Selective Color tool, what I can do is I can play with the balance of various colors within these different color profiles. But I'm not going to touch any of the colors. I'm just going to play with the whites, the neutrals, and the blacks. Now within the whites, what I want to do here is I want my whites to be very white. They're close, but in an infrared photo, sometimes the whites just aren't quite as crisp as you'd like them to be. Now, great way to get those whites more white is to take the black out of the white. Doesn't sound like it's something that you would think to do, but as you can see, as I pull the black to the left, those whites, especially the ones that were a little more gray, are going to start to pop. You can see as I move it right and left just how much that can change. And somewhere around 35% to the left, I get a much crisper white, something that I really, really like. And I'm going to go with that. Maybe I see some yellows in there, and I can actually pull some of the yellows out of the white too. So you can see how it just affects the tonality of the whites a little bit. So I like that. Much better look. And then I'm going to go to the neutrals. Now within the neutrals, what this does is it looks across all the various different mid-tone colors. And I can play with the blacks within the neutrals here, add some, and I have more of a contrasty kind of image. But for the most part, I'm going to leave this at 0% more times than not, but just play with the amount of the other colors that I have within the water. I can drag, or within the blues. I can drag this to the right and get more of a bluish green. I can drag it to the left. Play with the various colors just to get them the way I want within the midtones. These were kind of close. I was pretty happy with it as it was, but again, it gives you a feel for how you can do some of these various adjustments. And then within the black, again, I can pull some of the yellows out and make this, it goes a little more cyan. It goes a little more yellow. Play with the colors within the different tonalities to get the mix that you want, and I can actually then boost the amount of black in the black too if I want to really bring out those ripples in the front. So using just those two tools, the color balance and the selective color tools as adjustment layers within Photoshop will go a long way to achieving the tonality you want within your infrared image. So from here, I'm pretty darn happy with this. I might go into either my Nik tools or possibly the Perfect Effects and play with some of the detail extraction and whatnot, do some sharpening. But by and large, this is pretty close to where I would want this image from a tonal perspective. So I'm pretty happy. So that's a quick and dirty way of playing with colors in infrared.